out there. I am Keita Adewale, and thank you so much for joining us for My Sister's Couch, a place where you can come and share your testimonies and share what God has done for you and where the Lord has brought you from, and give glory and honor and praise to Him. So My Sister's Couch, this is for conversation. Conversation. The O is for openness. The U is for understanding. The C is that we're Christ-centered. And then the H is that we bring help, hope, and healing. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell and begin to share My Sister's Couch. I am Keita Adewale, and welcome to another conversation right here on My Sister's Couch. Today we're joined by Samuel and Leslie James. They're newlyweds, celebrating their 1-year anniversary this coming August, actually, and we are excited about that. Leslie is a Jane of all trades. She's also the former singles ministry director at Greater Young Zion. She loves the Lord, and she has a powerhouse voice for Jesus. And then we have my brother Sam here. Now, Sam, he's retired military, and he's recently received his master's degree, and he is also a minister in training at Greater Young Zion. So we all know, as married couples, we have a journey, we have a story to tell. And so this is a chance for them to share their highs and lows, maybe to help another couple out there in their own experience, in their own journey, to face some of those challenges and the things that they have had to overcome themselves. So let's listen in right here on this conversation on My Sister's Couch. Time to thank the homeowner, the lady of the house, Miss Glow. Thank you for lending us our couch from My Sister's Couch today. She is off camera, but she opened up her home for hospitality, and I really appreciate that. We really thank her for that. All right, so we want to go ahead and get right into it on today and allow you all to share a testimony, your journey, your story. And the great thing about capturing Leslie and Sam's story, we're going to do it in sort of incrementally because there's so much to share. So throughout the month of February, we're going to call this the Love Month, sort of, and we'll get a chance to see and have a glimpse into their own testimony, into their own struggles, their own setbacks, their own growth, to what has landed them to actually where they are today, and where God is taking them, because this is not the end all be all, but this is a story that's forever being told. All right, so thank you once again for taking the privilege to be here.
You're welcome.
Y'all can relax. I'm serious. Y'all can relax. It's okay.
Relax. This is my relax.
This is a relax mode. Okay. All right. So why don't you tell our viewers how the two of you met?
Okay. Well, we both were members of Greater Young Zion, and my first encounter with Sam was when he introduced me to his ex-girlfriend in the lobby at Greater Young Zion, and he inquired about the singles ministry, about him and his ex coming and joining us for some of the single things.
Now, was she your girlfriend at the time, or she was the ex at the time?
She was a girlfriend.
She was a girlfriend at the time. So Sam was introducing you to his then girlfriend and inquiring about singles ministry.
Right.
Leslie and I, we knew of each other, and we had grown a type of friendship, and so I respected and trusted her opinion. So that was just my way of getting approval, if you will, because I knew she would tell the truth.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now,
but that's not the first time she noticed me.
That's not the first time. So how do you go from
seriously?
So like, how do you go from meeting a girlfriend at the church to where you are now?
Okay. So let me tell you something. When I joined Greater Young Zion, I think it was like 2012, 2013, somewhere in there. And so I was really not looking for anyone, because when I came to Greater Young Zion, I was dating this guy who was a member of the church. And so he, kept inviting me, and I kept putting it off because I did not go to any church for many years before I came to Greater Young Zion, because I was dealing with church hurt. you know, angry about things that happen at my home church and stuff like that. And I was just like, I'm not dealing with church people or nothing like that. So I hadn't sang in years, like since I was a teenager, and he kept inviting me. And finally, he made the deal sweeter by saying, oh, well, we can go out on a lunch date after church. And I was like, okay, well, I'll do that. Just so I can get my free meal.
Oh,
no lie, no, I mean,
it's the truth.
Transparent.
This is what openness and transparency is about, all right?
So, you know, I showed up, and he was not at church. You know, so I sat back there, and this was the first time that I really heard the word as clear as I used to hear it from my home church. And I was just like amazed at the teaching, not preaching, not hooping and hollering, not just the teaching that was going on that I was listening to. And I kept coming to the church after then. I have not stopped coming since that time, that first time. And so, you know, I think Sam came to the church maybe like 2 years after that.
I came to the church in 2015.
Yeah.
It was my first time coming. The day Pastor got the word in the pulpit that his daughter had passed, that was my first day there at the church.
Wow.
And so I went away for a couple weeks and then came back.
Yeah. So
that's amazing. I think all of us have that. Not to interrupt you, but that's my story too. When I came and never left.
Never left.
I came at the invitation of Miss Mary, and actually I ended up coming for a Bible VBS.
Okay.
And it was the Jubilee, and then she invited me back, and I came like 2 times, and he wasn't there. I was like, what kind of pastor is this? He'll never be at his own church. Like it was a Bible study though.
Yeah.
So Reverend Hal preached the first one.
Yeah.
AJ preached the second one. I was like, what kind of pastor don't never be at his church?
Listen.
I didn't understand about his travel itinerary at that time. And then so I came on a Sunday and never left.
Yeah.
I've been there ever since, and I was since 2011.
It's funny that you say that because my first time coming there, AJ was actually up there doing the teaching for that day. Pastor Blunt was out of town. And so I thought AJ was Pastor Blunt for a long time.
Wow. Wow.
And so me and AJ had built this relationship and everything, and he was, you know, showing me about discipleship and all that stuff, and I was just, you know, went head first into everything with the Christian education department and all of that. And I thought he was the pastor, whatever, but all of it was great teaching.
Yes.
And so I stayed there and I said, this is where I need to be. I'm going to get this. And I stacked up those discipleship classes and I went head first into it. And the same thing with him. He came in working, you know, and I think that's kind of like how we saw each other, because my first time actually noticing him, it was at, I was doing media, working in the media booth for one of the, for Women's Emphasis Month.
Okay.
And so I was just back there putting up the scriptures and stuff. And I saw this guy walking up the aisle, and I'm like, this is the women thing, what he doing here? But he had on this blue suit. And he was bow-legged, and I looked up and I said, who is that? And then I caught myself staring at him.
Wow.
And so I stopped and I looked around to see if anybody was looking at me, looking at him. And then that was it. So some time
Now,
went
were
on.
you in your relationship at that time?
Oh, yeah, I was in a
in-
relationship at that time.
At
yeah.
that time.
And actually, that's how I came, because I was in a relationship, and she didn't go to the church regularly, but she went to Old Macedonia, but she would come often. And she said, I think this would be the perfect church for you because of my type of personality. Very straightforward person. I'm like dealing with a whole bunch of nonsense. Just give me the truth and let's keep pushing. And she said that this pastor, that's exactly what he does. So I think this would be a good fit for you. So that's when I came to visit, and then came back, and yeah. He
So
was
now,
always good straight.
if in order for you and her to be together, that means you and her had to be over. So what led to the being over part for you?
Oh, it was some other stuff.
Well, the one I introduced her to was not the one that brought me there.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, this was a different person.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So fast forward.
Okay.
You know, I'm over the singles ministry. He came and asked about it, and so he started coming to the singles,
ministry.
yeah, and fellowshipping and stuff. And then him and a couple of other guys there, they would always make sure we had the security down, making sure that, you know, all the women were taken care of while we was there, walking to their cars. He was out cleaning up. He was very helpful in the singles ministry. Then one day he came to me and he asked why the singles ministry didn't have a prayer line like the other ministries had. You know how everybody pray on a certain time of the week, a night during the week. So I was like, well, if you asking this question, then I mean the Lord wants you to start it. So go ahead and have at it. And so he started the singles to gathering for prayer weekly, and that's how we started it off. And
now, by this time, are you single now? Okay.
Oh yeah,
I mean, single in the
Yeah.
because if you're not married, even if you're dating, you're still single.
Yeah, I was.
You're still single. But were you not now
Right.
officially
I wasn't.
out of the relationship?
Yeah, I wasn't dating anybody.
Okay.
but still nothing was going on between us.
Right.
We were just
Friends,
Yeah,
just
right.
being
Right.
brothers and sisters in the Lord.
right.
So that brings me to this question, man. What now brought you to an attraction? What was the attraction that you started to have? Well, you already had the attraction when you looked at him and said, "Ooh,
Yeah.
he's bow-legged. This was this nice brother."
Right. I did.
What now was the attraction for you to Leslie, and then what continued to be an attraction as you begin to work closer together in ministry?
Let me say this. I noticed him and I thought that he was very attractive. I never had a dark skinned boyfriend or someone that was interested in me. I always wanted someone who was dark skinned
Okay.
because I just love chocolate. However, I never dated anyone like none of y'all chocolate people wanted me. None of y'all. None of y'all. None of y'all. But that's all right. I got it. But anyway,
She got her chocolate. She got her chocolate. She got her chocolate.
so, but I did notice him. I thought he was attractive, but the mindset that I was in at that time, like I said, I caught myself to see if anybody was watching me watch him, and I quickly got over that. You know,
Okay.
I wasn't. My focus was just the Lord, mommy, and then post office.
What
You know,
about
it
you,
worked.
sir?
Well, as you said, we knew each other. I always thought she was an attractive woman, but I thought she was much younger than what she was. And I don't like dating young women, so I never bothered to even try to approach her. Because, like I said, you know, I was at that time. I think I was 47,
Okay.
48 at that time.
Okay.
So I'm thinking she was in her late 20s, early 30s.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do that. And so I just, you know, admired from afar. And then one day she had called me up and asked me if I could help a friend of hers financially with some stuff. Okay, sure, no problem. And that's, I'll let her tell this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening, like you
She's
said.
trying to push me off.
Oh, she was trying to be the matchmaker, trying to hook you up.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, that's true. Like I said, I did find him attractive when I first saw him, and then you know my focus was elsewhere. But he and I, we became good friends. We talked to each other and stuff like that. He used to help out a lot at the church. I did his son's hair, you know. So, but it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, I had a friend who I felt that she deserved a really good guy, and I was just thinking about people at the church, you know, that she could be with, and she needed some help, and I didn't have all of it at the time, so I called him and asked him if he could help me with the rest that I needed
Good
to help her.
situation to help somebody.
All right, so he was like, sure, no problem. So he came over that day to bring it. All right, so I was telling her, I was like, go put some clothes on, fix yourself up, and you know, trying to get her, you know, to be presentable and whatnot, which she always was, but I just wanted her to do a little extra. And meanwhile, I'm over here in some basketball shorts, and I think my t-shirt had a stain on it because I had been doing some housework. My hair, I think I had them 2 twists that I always wore. And, you know, I was raggedy. And he came over, and I had her to cook because he stayed there. He ended up fixing her son's game, going to the store and getting some other stuff that her other child needed. And I was just like talking to her. I said, girl, you need to get in the kitchen and cook something right now. Show him you know how to cook.
Wow.
You see what he doing without even being asked? Just go ahead. And she was like, he too old for me.
Exactly.
And I was like, girl, age ain't number. Child. All right. So we talked. Finally, she said it's time to put the kids to bed or whatever. So me and him, we left. So I'm thinking, you know, he gonna ask me about her or whatever, ask me to hook it up. We went outside. Me and him kept talking in the parking lot until like 12. We left out of her house like 9 something, and we stood outside and talked till like 12. Finally, I was like, it's time to go. He's like, make sure you text me so you made it home. I said, do the same thing, and that's what we did. And then, what was the next day?
Yeah, I think it was that night.
Night.
No, what's the next day? I was talking on the phone.
Yeah, the next day, we was just talking, you know, regular talk. I thought it was regular talk. I ain't know, you know, I'm expecting still, well, you know, do you think a girl be interested in me? I'm expecting that, but it ain't came yet. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he gonna handle it himself. Then later on, I get a text message from him, and he was like, hey, I enjoyed hanging out with you the other night. And I was like, oh yeah, it was cool. And then he was like,
because let me say this for clarity's sake. Sam didn't know he was coming to be fixed up.
no.
Right.
Just the sister, just the other person knew.
Exactly.
No,
she-
she didn't know neither.
Oh, she didn't know either.
It was after I saw how he came in and was so helpful
oh,
with her
and
and her.
the kids.
And I thought he
everything.
was doing that because he liked her.
Okay,
And
I
I was
got
like-
you.
That's just my demeanor.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got
That's
you.
around kids.
So what you were hoping to bring together as a match
Yeah.
that you thought would work out because she was, you know, she was a little in need of a good person,
Yeah.
a man, a father figure for the children, things
Yeah.
like that. It changed.
Yeah.
And
it
now his
changed.
attention was never on that sister anyway.
I didn't even know that.
It was always on you.
Yeah. Sitting over there looking like I was looking. I didn't even know you weird. I was woolly bully. That's all I could say. And I was like, he want to go out right now today.
Wow.
And I'm working at the post office.
Why you wanted to go out so bad, Sam? That
Right.
quickly. That seemed
Right.
like
It was Thursday. It was a Thursday too. He was ready.
okay, he was ready. He was ready.
Let's do it.
All right, then.
I said, I ain't got time to get myself together. I got to get myself together. And I was like, well, can we do it? Can we go out Saturday?
Wow.
And then he was like, okay, yeah, that'll be fine. So I still had to work though.
Okay.
So I go to work, and I had to go to work with these pigtails in my hair so that I could try to have my hair looking some kind of way when I got out. So I did a little twist out thing. And I'm at the post office working. I was slinging that mail that day, trying to make sure I got off on time. Make sure I got off on time. He said he was gonna be at the house at 7 o'clock, and I'm like, Pastor Blunt had already gave these teachers about drive yourself, pay for yourself on the first date. So I got all this in my mind. I'm like, I'm going to meet him, even though he's saying he come to pick me up. I'm gonna tell him I'm gonna drive my own car, you know. But this man shows up early, and y'all, you know how I be late.
Mm-hmm.
I be late to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Early as in on time.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to tell me, Sam. We know. I know. know, and for all of you all who out there who knows Leslie knows that time has no meaning.
If you want me to be on time, you better tell me I gotta be there earlier. Yeah. So he showed up on time, and I was still in there trying to take them twists out my head and everything.
And I was actually about to leave.
Wow.
Because I had pulled up and buzzed to get in, and nobody answered.
Yeah, I
might as well just leave then.
And he came to the door, and I didn't answer the door. I was in the shower. I didn't hear the door, and so he thought that I was standing him up. But he waited. I think he sent another message or something like that, and then finally I answered the phone, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready. Just running a little bit behind." And that was it. You want to tell us about the rest of the day?
I like your version.
Oh my God! So I didn't end up driving. He was like, "No, you can ride with me or whatever." So he opened the door for me and all that stuff.
Very chivalrous.
Yes, and it was so sweet because in my past dating life and stuff, you know, I never really had that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been real independent all my life, and guys just were like manly guys.
We went to the drive-in movie theater.
Yeah.
And you know, get some popcorn and stuff, and then she go over there trying to pull out her wallet. What is we doing? When did we do that? No.
Yeah.
Stop. Keep your money. I got this. I'm gonna ask you out if I need you to pay. No. So yeah.
I was so uncomfortable. I was like, I don't know how to be because, like, in my past relationships, I always took care of everything. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really, I ain't had no decent dude who was, like, upstanding and doing what he's supposed to do. So I'm like, I got my own money and all this stuff, but, he was a real gentleman, and we had a nice time. We watched the movie and everything, and then it was so funny because that was Saturday night, and then we had to go to church the next morning. So here we are. We done, went home Saturday night, and then I get up, me and mommy at church the next Sunday morning, and then like I can't stop looking at him in church and stuff. And so every time we catch each other out, it was like we was giggling.
Like we choose.
Yes, it was. And so it was really nice. It was a good feeling. And then we actually went out on 8 dates in a row. For the next 8 days, we went on a date. The thing that stood out to me that night, we were walking to go to the arena, and I think we came out of the parking area, and we were on the sidewalk, and I was walking by the street or whatever, and he just grabbed my hand and kind of like pulled me behind him and pulled me on the other side.
On the other side. Everybody should know that move, Sam. Every girl, you didn't know what that meant?
I didn't know.
Every girl in America should know what that means now.
But yes, women, you should never walk by the road.
On the outside of the man.
And you should never, another thing he did is...
Let's explain it why, though. 2 reasons. One reason is, back years and years ago, we know about prostitution. So the pimp would have his woman or the one he was going to sell on the outside of him to show her off on the street. That's one reason. So he, as the pimp, will be on one side and she will be on the outside so that cars passing by could see her.
Yeah.
Okay, and he was promoting her. Okay. Now the other reason is because the man wants to protect her. So he brings her now where if anything should happen, he's on the outside where it happens to him first.
Yeah.
Where if somebody's trying to attack them, if a car is going to come to them, any danger, a dog, or anything, it comes to him. It comes to him first, and she has a chance to get away, or she has a chance to help, she has a chance to holler, scream, whatever. But the likelihood of him protecting her is greater if he's on the outside versus her being on the outside, being in that vulnerable position, right? Being in a position of possibly being attacked or hurt or wounded. So that's the other reason. So now you all know there's no other reason. The two reasons when you are, potentially seeing someone that's sort of
those are things,
chivalrous things that do stand out. Exactly.
Yeah. So he did that, and I was like, I knew of that, but I had never experienced it before. And so it was like, oh my goodness. And that was so sweet. And then when we got ready to cross the street, it was like he was holding my hand, but then he did like this and he stepped out first. Mm-hmm. And then
once again
he pulled me and we went up. Yeah, and then walking up and down the stairs. That was another thing. When we walked up the stairs, he's behind me. And then when we walked down the stairs, he's in front of me and had me hold on to his shoulder. So it was just
sweet.
Yeah, just so sweet.
Sweet, Sam.
I mean,
so let's sort of fast forward
You got
now.
a brother, Sam?
So let's sort of fast forward. So of course now you went on your 8 dates. You developed now to relationship, a friendship, and all that kind of good stuff. Took some time. You're sitting up under good teaching and training. Were you? First of all, we all have a past. We all have things we have done in our past. It doesn't make us who we are, but it helps to show us what we didn't want to be, and show us what was options, how we could make better choices, how our walk with God would help us to make better decisions. And so, being in a church, of course, we know that Greater Young Zion is a pretty decent sized church with 2 services and to capacity most Sundays. So you hear stuff, you hear rumors, you find out about stuff, and now you're in the limelight. Now what you were trying to keep maybe private and personal, now it's to the limelight. Now you all are a couple and an item, and then so now you might start to hearing things. You might have heard some things about her. She might have heard some things about you, and all those things are not good things. Especially with you having already a girlfriend in the church at one point, another relationship in the church at one time, even a marriage at one time that did not work well even at that time. So you hear stuff, right? So how did that make you feel? Did you feel supported as being in a relationship? Did you feel that people were naysayers speaking negatively against the relationship? Did you feel like questioning God? Like, did you feel like God really brought y'all together, even in spite of the things you may have heard about each other?
But yes and no on all fronts. Some people you felt supported, others you did not. Because the big thing with me was, like you said, there's 2 or 3 people since I've been there. And so now all of a sudden I'm trying to date everybody in the church. But all the people I dated, none of them were from the church. They always came to the church because of me. So I wasn't dating around the church. It just, that's just how it happened. So, but it's always the outsiders looking in that have something to say, but they never want to come to you and ask you the question. And so I'm a very upfront person. You ask me a question, I'll tell you. If you want gossip behind the back, then you go ahead and stay back there and do what you do. Don't care. So that's kind of how it was for me. I always ask the question, hey, God, is this where I'm supposed to be? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And then you just, okay, this is what I believe he's telling me. Just go ahead and move forward. If it's going to work out or it isn't.
Well, with me, I didn't have any issues with anyone saying anything to me until me and Sam broke up. That's when people want to come and try to say things, but these weren't my friends. The ones that thought they wanted to come and share some information with me. I felt that if they were my friend, then they would have come and tell me that while I was in the relationship with him. Like if it was something that was going to hurt me or whatever, why you didn't come and tell me then? So I didn't put a lot of faith in what those people were saying. And I had to, even though me and Sam was broken up, he was still my friend. And I'm not going to let anyone just talk about my friend. So yeah, people came to me and said things, and I stood up for them because I know what they don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone has a past. And because I didn't date in the church, y'all don't know nothing about me. Y'all don't know what my past is. Now, I'm an open book, just like you say. You ask me a question, and if I want to tell you, I'll tell you. But my past is my testimony. And I have had multiple people that I dated. I've had relationships that you know about my past, but some other people don't. But it's nothing that I'm trying to hide, you know what I'm saying? And because they didn't have anything bad to say about me because they didn't know it, I guess they felt like they put me on a higher scale than him or whatever, and it's unfair, you know?
And especially with the teaching that we get in the sense of relationships are supposed to bring you closer to God.
Yeah.
When those relationships don't, then you need to start paying attention to the relationship and the motives. And so we know that relationships that we enter should bring us closer to God, wanting to be in closer fellowship with Him, strengthening our relationship with God first, so that we can be strengthening a strength to one another.
Right.
Okay, when God brings two people together. So whenever comes the fact that is interference or a hindrance, then we start paying attention to the relationship. And I remember some personal conversations, but I remember one of the things that you valued was how you were growing, that God was bringing you closer. I mean, that this relationship was bringing you closer to God. It was having you pray more.
Yes.
It was having you believe Him more, trust Him more, and so many other things in a positive way. And I'm sure you probably have that same story. So
real relationship would definitely have you praying.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this. You mentioned breakup. You broke up how many times?
4 times.
They broke up 4 times, folks.
4 times from
So you know how
August
they
2019 to August 2021.
Y'all broke up 4 times.
Yeah.
So how, now you know where I'm gonna ask this question for our viewers' sake. So a person would say, you go through those many breakups, it only really take one time. Like, how, if y'all going through these breakups now, what is it going to be like in the marriage? You know, how are you going to work through, because when you're married, you just can't break up. When you're married, you just can't walk away. When you're married, you just don't have a choice to say, I'm just not talking to him anymore. You have physical, mental, and spiritual obligations to one another.
Yeah.
So how now, I mean, I'm sure you had to develop some discipline and maturity, but however, like, how do you stay with somebody? What keeps you coming back? First of all, after 4 times, like to say, did you ever say, God, did you really bring us together? Like, 4 times of breaking up, like, what would make you think this was from God, breaking up so many times?
For me, it was just the feeling and the drive to be with him and wanting better for him. It was like, I don't care how much I cried and prayed for God to take him out of my heart. It was like, it wouldn't happen. I was down on my floor, face to the floor, begging God, please take this man out of my heart. Just don't let me see him. Don't let me think about him. Just let me just focus on you and just leave it alone. I don't want this. I don't want it. I mean, snot crying and everything.
What about for you, Sam?
Same thing. You know, my past track record is once I'm done, and I'm going with my life. But for whatever reason, I couldn't move on. And so after a while, I was like, you know what? Stop fighting it. It is what it is.
And so we know that in relationships with God bring us together, we get a chance to see the inadequacies, the insecurities, the deficiencies in another person. Do you think any of that was a contributing factor to the breakups? Or
yeah, absolutely. And I think the things we broke up over, none of them were really irreconcilable. but due to our personalities and short-temperedness, and this is what I'm not going to deal with, I just go ahead and walk away instead of sitting there and trying to work it out and work through it.
That's real good. What do you think? What did he say? What did he say?
Certain things he wanted to just get his point across.
Now, one of my favorite sayings is "What you not gonna do."
What you not?
So that's why I said that. I had to get that in there.
Yeah.
What you
Not gonna
not
do.
gonna do.
What you not gonna do? We know exactly. So at some point, now going back to Christ-centered relationships, okay? At some point, how did you know, or when did you know that there was a kingdom purpose for the relationship? Because when we deal with God and we talk about when God brings people together, it's never for you, and it's never for you. It's for a kingdom purpose. All right, it's for his will to be done, and it doesn't mean that you. And then he brings two people together though that can still have enjoyment with each other. He wants you to have enjoyment together. But the purpose is not for you, and the purpose is not for you. The purpose is for him. So whatever his kingdom purpose is for the relationship. So at what point now do you say, wait a minute, after all the breakups, that this relationship has a kingdom purpose, and when did you discover the kingdom purpose for your relationship?
Well, I noticed Sam's kingdom purpose when he started working in the singles ministry. When I saw him, how he was with different people, listening to him talk to other people, encourage other people, seeing how he worked with me with the singles ministry, being a leader and starting a prayer line like he did, and taking initiative to do different things to uplift the singles ministry and working in media and stuff. It was just, I saw in him a lot, and so after we started dating and just hearing him in his personal life doing some of the same things he did at church, because people do stuff at church, but they may not be like that at home or whatever. And so when I saw some of the same way that he talked at church when I was around him at church, and now that he and I are hanging around personally, okay, he's really no different than, he's honest, open, and he really does love the Lord. He really does want the best for his church. He really does want to encourage people, uplift people. He's a great counselor. He really does want to pray. He really does want, what I'm saying? It's like, okay, yeah, this is the type of man that I want to be with. And I can see his ministry going so far. Like, really, the way he talks to people to make them change their mind about things, this negative thoughts and stuff that, they have about themselves. God uses him to help others in that way. But also Satan attacks him in that area too. So it's just like, I can just see what a blessing he is to God's kingdom, and how God is going to continue to use him and build him up and mature him even more. So I saw that, even before we got together.
What about for you, Sam?
Kind of along the same lines. We often don't see in ourselves what God has put in us. So it takes another person, especially if they're God focused, to raise us up to that next level. And I see a lot of things in her to help build the kingdom of God. And having the openness and open-mindedness for her to want to achieve that. And okay, well, this is great because I can learn from her as well as she can learn from me. Then we can both get together and help build up other people in God's kingdom, outside of God's kingdom, bring them to God's kingdom, and it just becomes a great thing. We're still learning.
Yeah, it's going to be continuous.
Yeah.
All right. right, so we're going to continue with our conversation with Leslie and with Sam on next week. We're going to continue to bring nuggets and talk about some real challenges, that they had to overcome in their walk and their relationship to get to where they are. And we know that there will be continuous challenges, but that's what makes a relationship grow, and all of that good stuff. So at this point, as we always do, before we get to the good news, we always have our guests look into the camera and tell you all what the good news is. And we always know that the good news is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It don't get any better than that. So I don't care in spite of COVID, sickness, disease, broken marriage, a broken home, broken relationships. I don't care what it is. The good news is always that Jesus can fix whatever is broken. Right? So it's our good news here on My Sister's Couch is always going to be starting with him. However, I'm going to give them an opportunity to speak directly into the camera and share with me the good news. And share with me the good news. And share with you the good news. But before I do, I have something for them. Shake it. This is a good little game. This is a good little game we're going to do right here. So what I'm going to do, I just want you to get two at a time. I have my assistant over here, Miss Mary. Thank you so much for helping us out. Woman, lady behind the camera, behind the scenes. So what I want you to do quickly, she's going to throw you one of these. One to you, Sam, one to you, Leslie. Y'all have to open it quick and fast. And you're going to read the back, not the front that's with the typing on it. I had to write on the back of the sheet of paper. Okay. So you're going to read the back of the paper, and then whoever opens theirs first, you got to hurry up and say what it is, and you have to say what it is that you like about that particular thing or that person. Go, Miss Mary. He can't smack it back. You can't hit it back. Go, Sam. Go, Sam. Go. You gotta say it. Who first? Mine. What you like about his mind?
I like that he has a creative, adventurous mind.
I know what it is. Trust me. I know what it is.
Get ready.
And I like that
he's
open-minded.
You can't think too long.
He's open-minded.
Go.
Legs.
Oh!
Yes, sir.
What about them legs? What about those legs, Sam?
I think her legs are gorgeous.
All right, go. That's yours. Go. Okay.
Oh, heart. He has such a sweet, loving, and caring heart.
Go.
I love it.
Go.
Same heart. She has a big heart, and she's all very giving.
Go. Sam, how you not never get to go first?
Because I'm just letting
Go.
Oh my gosh. His eyes. Let me take off his glasses.
Really? I can't see
Listen.
right?
Go.
He has the most beautiful eyes. I love.
Go.
They're so brown and
Her
That's
mind.
enough.
Her mind.
Use her mind.
Her mind. She's very creative.
Oh yeah, she is. Go, Sam. Go. Go, Sam. Leslie, you gotta get your paper.
Her eyes. She has some beautiful eyes.
She does. Go.
Okay. Ooh, legs. I already told y'all they're a little bow, honey, and they got a lot of hair.
Go.